Thumbs up to start. Start now. Okay. Hello, folks. How are you? My name is Dr. Akil Taher. I'm a practicing physician in Atlanta, Georgia. And this is my story from a transformation from an unhealthy diet with no exercise, hardly sleeping, to a whole food plant-based diet and following the 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine. Uh, Apparently, our Marikita was supposed to interview me. Her audio is not working, so I'm just going to let you know my story. Well, I came to the United States rather late in my 40s, and I had a lot of catching up to do. So I really worked long, hard hours, uh, paying very little attention to my health or, for that matter, to my family and friends. And I spent the better part of my adult life eating unhealthy foods without worrying about what effect it would have on my health, like a heart attack. And like many, I believed that it would never happen to me. So I started eating meats, dairy, eggs, highly processed foods, heavy in salt, coloring agents, and sugary diet, added sugars, and all these were affecting my health, but I was not aware of it. In fact, I needed these foods to get my daily high. So without that, I would feel uncomfortable. And at times, my friends and family would call me a seafood eater. I ate everything at sight. And when I was not really working hard at my job, my professional responsibility, I handled it very well. But I, my personal life was being affected. And when I was not eating, or for that matter, uh, working, I was just lie on the couch, fatigued and tired, without doing any exercise, period. Uh, in fact, the only exercise I did at that time was to watch on the TV people walking in the park, and I did use my hand muscles to use the remote to change the channels. And surprisingly, in addition to having unfavorable genetics, like I have uh, Wolf Parkinson White syndrome, which is an accessory pathway in my heart, which can cause rapid high heartbeats. I also was diagnosed a year back with having the LP little a extremely high. That causes premature heart disease, strokes, and peripheral artery disease. So now, if on my family also was little bit with health problems, uh, family history was not too good either. My, I believe my brother died at a very young age of a stroke. He was only 52 years old, tragic death. And my mother and my sister both succumbed to heart disease. And so, with that in mind, I also, at that time, uh, I had a type A personality. That means I needed to control uh, practically everything that I could control. It was either my way or the highway. Now, looking back, possibly because of the LPA being very high and my uh, lifestyle, unhealthy lifestyle, caused me to have a kind of a stress that I could not handle. And so I succumbed to heart disease, and I was not surprised when it came knocking at a young age of 56, I believe. I was, two of my arteries were 8 to 99% blocked, and I was terrified. Uh, you see, the whole they asked me that I should get my stents in. Uh, I agreed, and during the process, uh, my plaques were so thick that they had to use a diamond-shaped uh, to cut my plaques. And in the process, I had a heart cardiac arrest, and they had to literally shock me to get my heart beating again. That was my first encounter with death. And now the brilliant cardiologist who practically saved my life that day, sad to say that 2 years after that, he died of a massive heart attack while being on the treadmill. He was only 52 years old. And I mean, I know that heart disease is a leading cause of death, but to see someone actually die so young, and especially being a physician, really was awful. And so, after having the angioplasty and the stents, I came home frightened. For the first time in my life, I did not, I lost control. I thought medical science would get me through. And I believe, but I was a physician. I was supposed to help patients, not become one. And so this caused, so gradually I started withdrawing from life. I remember sitting long hours staring vacantly at nothing. I would have temper tantrums, uh, and then my nights were horrible with horrible dreams and night sweats, and that caused a lot of fatigue. And not everyone knows that sometimes an intense health event may be followed by periods of extreme loneliness, isolation, and dejection. So this continued. So all these sort of negative thoughts and behaviors uh, created more physical problems. So what I had was sinus infection, bronchitis, pneumonia visited me practically every year. And then we had this chronic constipation and anal fissures and hemorrhoids added to my discomfort. And uh, and the infamous diverticulitis that I had because of not having any fiber in my diet, because I was a meat eater and very little fiber. So I had this diverticulitis which perforated twice. And the second time when it perforated, uh, I was told by my surgeon, a friend, that if I don't take you right now and operate on you, you may not survive. That was my second uh, that was where I came to death the second time, close to death. Now, it took me 5 years living this way, uh, with thoughts of suicide included. I did not change my lifestyle. I ate the same rubbish food that I had, was still a couch potato, and therefore I was not really surprised when my stents failed and I had to go back to the hospital to get my open heart surgery, bypass surgery. I don't know why, but mark my words, I'm going to do a half marathon in a year's time if all went well. This is what I told the nurses in the ICU as I was being wheeled in. Of course, most of them really laughed and sort of humored me, and I don't blame them. Uh, you see, I don't really know why I said this at that time. But now looking back, I believe that maybe I was tired of leading this long, endless life of misery. And I wanted to change and live a life of purpose, passion, positivity. And so in my mind, I was thinking and saying this. So the fact was, when I got up from the anesthesia and after my surgery, I was on the treadmill the very third day. And even with the excruciating pain of your chest being open, people with heart surgery will tell you how awful it is. This kind of physical pain was far better in terms of the mental agony of the last 5 years. Surprisingly, I did not take any pain medications. And I had promised the nurses that I would do half a marathon. So I decided to take up running. And so I took up running, but not having done any walking or running for the most part of my adult life. It was a torture in the beginning. So I started walking. It's like a child learning how to walk. And then in terms of brisk walking, and then a jog, and then running. And as I did this that's what I tell people, don't give up. As I did this on a regular basis, I started enjoying running. And running to me was a meditation in motion. I loved the chirping of the birds, the sound of the waterfalls, the smell of the overall early morning. This was amazing to me. So I did this, and I changed my lifestyle too. I started eating better. Not a plant based though, eating better, incorporated yoga, meditation, and sky breathing or pranayama, and I felt good. So 7 months after my open heart surgery, Wife and I went over to Nashville to do my first half marathon. And there was a dichotomy of fear as well as excitement. Couldn't sleep that night. And so at 1 o'clock or 2 a.m. in the morning, I fell asleep and had a dream that I was presenting US in the Olympics. And I had got a gold medal, and they were putting the gold medal on me, and I was uh, singing aloud the Star Spangled Banner, but totally out of tune. And when I got up, I felt good. I felt good. And so I went over to my first half marathon. And I said I got to do this. There were a few hills which I did not have any hills in Gadsden where I practiced my runs. But I believe there were thunderstorms to it that time, and they asked that if there is lightning, it would be stopped. But I did not care. I felt free for the first time. And I just went on running and finished my half a marathon. Took me about 3.5, or even more hours to finish that. But I felt like I was on top of Mount Everest. There was no looking back after that. Within a year from surgery, I embarked on a trekking expedition to Mount Kailash, circumventing at a towering 19,000 feet. Beyond that, in the last 15, 16 years, I accomplished several marathons, half marathons, triathlons, conquered a 100-mile bike ride, and climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. And all these additional adventures led me to indulge in thrilling experiences such as gliding and hang gliding in Brazil and bungee jumping in New Zealand. So this was the life that I was now much better. But even though I was on the treadmill the third day, running and exercising and eating right, not plant based, mind you, I was still getting illnesses. And I wondered why. So I started illnesses, meaning that my diverticulitis would act up, my sinus infections would act up now and then. So I did a deep dive and to research as to what was it that I was not doing proper. So I started researching on how to heal the body without solely relying on medications and surgery. So I started reading books by experts and doctors and researchers like Dr. Dean Ornish, Neil Barnard, Esselstyn, T. Collins, Michael Greger, uh, in the field of lifestyle medicine. And the more I read, the more I realized that there was something here. And that is when I realized the 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine, where I found that diet was the most important cornerstone, much more important than exercise, while the others, like exercise, a restorative sleep, how to handle stress, avoid substance abuse, and have a robust social support, were all complementing this main thing about diet. And so I embarked on a journey of whole food, plant based diet. It was difficult. I did not go cold turkey. I started, first of all, by giving up dairy, which was not too difficult. Uh, and I suddenly realized that now, when I ask people to give up something and become plant based, I tell them the first thing you got to do is give up dairy because the results are immediate. No more mucousy discharge, no more sinus infections, you breathe better. And so, and I realized that there was nothing that was uh, not available. Like you have non dairy milks, your cashew milk and your soy milk and your almond milks and your yogurts that you get. And so I became aware of that, and that made me feel good. And I realized at that particular time that that doing that, I also was doing something which by my instincts were that we were harming and we were cruel to animals, because no matter how humanely you bring up an animal and then you kill that animal, there is no moral justification in that. We make inseminate the cows with estrogens, large amounts, so that they're constantly pregnant. Once they get the babies, we steal these babies and we drink that milk for our cereals and our coffee, while the cows are crying out in the night to get back to their babies. And so it got me to thinking that it is wrong for us to consider a steak or a piece of chicken, irrespective how it is cooked or fish or whatever, as as food. It is life. It is not food. So if we ever see these animals on the roads or streets, be it a lamb or be it a dog or a cat or a cow or a goat or a chicken, and if somebody is ill treating these animals, I guarantee you we go first and stop that person. But we fail to realize that that kind of cruelty, 10 times worse, is happening in the slaughterhouses. But we do not consider it when it comes on our plate because it is food and not life. We got to be aware and start thinking that this is life. And so, to me, it was a plus point that I gave up dairy, the first thing. And the next thing I did give up was meat. And I found the earthy taste was in the mushrooms and the jackfruits, and that's what I'm doing right now is shop and cook with the doc. These are on YouTube, and I'm happy that I can help people not in gourmet meals but everyday meals, so that and easy to cook, not more than 15-20 minutes. Yesterday I did Italian style asparagus and mushrooms uh, with on a bed of quinoa and garnished with arugula. So I gave up meats. Then came a time was that I was now I did give up meats, but not yet fish, because fish was I thought it was a delicacy and I loved it, the taste. But eventually I gave up fish too, and I started on my plant-based diet. I I do use salt, not too much. At times, when I'm out or someplace that I cannot avoid, a little oil is being used. But overall, I'm not talking about mock meats and mock chicken. I'm talking about whole food plant based. I have in my backyard sort of where I have these spices like rosemary and oregano that we have that I used in my mushroom dish. And so this was my story on getting onto a plant-based diet. But having said that, meat, think about it. It has no fiber. It is full of saturated fat. It is full of cholesterol. It has that, if you cook it at high temperatures, it will produce amines that can cause a lot of cancers, be it your gastrointestinal cancers, your prostate cancers. And then I believe that it also causes kidney problems, kidney stones, and the I think the carnitine in meats is acted upon by gut bacteria, turning it into um, a product whereby you can get premature heart disease. And so uh, this was the meats are therefore and when you don't take fiber, the fiber is so important in our diet. Fiber can bring down cholesterol. It can help you with constipation. It improves your gut bacteria. It also is so important in people. Eventually, they did studies where COVID patients did not land up in the hospitals also with this high fiber. And then we talk about other when you are on a plant-based diet, you have to be on B12 and vitamin D. That is important because B12 is somehow not in the plant-based that we have now. It was there in the because of all the insecticide and pesticides we use in our soil. But prior, we had these in the soil, so we did not require, but we now need to take supplements of vitamin B12 and vitamin D. Vitamin D is your sunshine vitamin. That's the best way to get it. But as you get older, your vitamin D diminishes in your body, and it helps in skeletal health. It helps in absorption of calcium, and two things I would like to mention over here. One is that in the nursing homes, even before COVID, most of the patients were vitamin D deficient. And when 3 months when I did not go out, I checked my vitamin D, it was three. So it was extremely low. And therefore, vitamin D supplements are a must for people and they can get it checked every so often. Calcium is, you don't require 1.2 grams or 1 gram. You need 600 milligrams or 700 milligrams, which you can get in your leafy vegetables like your spinach or your kale, and your nuts, like your almonds and your other pine nuts and sunflower seeds. All these have enough of vitamin, uh, of calcium. Excessive calcium can cause a situation of hyperparathyroidism as well as certain calcium stones. Uh, Next would be is uh, your if your blood pressure is very high and you've taken medications and you've done a whole food plant-based diet, you may need magnesium to get it down. And as far as rest of the things that we have is uh, so from that point onwards, all these things, thirst centers don't work very well as you grow older. So you should be taking a lot of uh, water intake. So to me, the six pillars of lifestyle medicine, nutrition that I talked about, and then we go on to exercise, which is at least people should do in half an hour a day for 5 days a week of moderate intense exercises, whereby in a half an hour, if you can do even 7 to 8 minutes, where your heart rate goes up high, 70% of your maximum heart rate, that should suffice. But after that exercise, keep moving. Don't just sit at the desk and then feel that, okay, I've done my half an hour. Uh, there are performance exercises by which you can get your blood pressure lowered, your blood sugar coming down. It helps in certain cancers to exercise. That is important. Important thing is also the next pillar that is very important is to get a restorative sleep for about 7 to 9 hours a day. Uh, and a lot of people, Americans, don't get this. And the sleep aids they use is not right, because eventually you get addicted to that and you increase the dose, and there are dangers of the sleep aids. Uh, Behavioral therapy is what we have to do. We have to understand to unwind when we go to sleep, uh, and give proper time. Keep the room dark. Take a hot water shower so that it reduces your body temperature by a few degrees. All these things are important in having a good night's restorative sleep, both the REM sleep and the non-REM sleep, or what the deep sleep, as well as dream sleep. Uh, of course, after that is stress, and stress is always due to certain things that are worrying you. And to me, the most important things are like if you're in debt, or you're divorced, or death, or you are. And these are the things that can cause a kind of uh, chronic stress levels, which is different from acute stress levels, which is an overstimulation of the sympathetic nervous system, on, which goes on and leads to chronic stress, whereby your cortisol levels goes high. So that is another issue and what helps here is meditation, yoga, sky breathing, mindful meditation, or psychotherapy could definitely help. And avoiding abusive substances. I mean, imagine what we are doing, pain medications, and all these are written down, and people are taking it for years. Uh, Also, your alcohol and smoking. Uh, Studies prior to that said that a little bit of red wine would be okay, but no, alcohol does no good for the body at all. Period. So you should not be taking that, taking alcohol if you can avoid it. Now, and finally, having a robust social support, because it is this social support that connects you to other people, whereby you share your stories, you play games together, you laugh together. And this is what is important for your cognitive function. They have done studies when they found that when even an evening of really intermingling with people in social groups, the next day your cognitive levels increase. So that is the blue zones where they have this, and they are one of the healthiest and longest living people on this planet. So these are the six pillars in short that I have told you. And finally, uh, if you follow the six pillars of lifestyle medicine, your life will change. Uh, and you remember that nutrition or diet is more important than exercise, and whole food plant based diet is the most important pillar of your lifestyle medicine. Remember, thinking healthy, getting healthy, and staying healthy begins and ends with what you eat. Now, as an author and a heart healthy speaker, I stay focused on spreading my heart healthy message backed by evidence based diets and driven by my personal experience as a recovered heart disease patient. Now, as a physician, a resurgent physician, I leverage medical science and lifestyle medicine to treat the underlying cause of chronic diseases like your blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol, blood sugars, rather than treat the consequence of the disease after it has happened. And as a septuagenarian athlete at the age of 77 and a plant based proponent, I've benefited tremendously by adopting a whole food plant based diet. It has fostered a deep connection with nature, prompted more compassion, as I talked about, to animal rights, and showed me the harmful effects of animal farming so I can do to help to protect and help to heal the planet. With that, I would like to say thank you for being here and listening to this. Please spread the message around so that more people can benefit uh, from this. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
I can hear you.
Can you?
Yeah,
Okay.
but I
Well,
can't
thanks.
see you.
Okay, you can't see me,
No.
but you can hear me. Okay.
It,
Well, that's wonderful. Um, all right. I guess the same thing. People can't see me. I don't know why, but well, so this has been wonderful. I'm so impressed with everything you're doing, Dr. Akil. How is your family? What did they think when you went plant based, or when you
I think what has happened is slowly but surely, uh, they too are changing. My wife and daughter were vegetarians because of animal cruelty 35 years back. So they turned now vegan, and my extended family is also now becoming more flexitarian, cutting back on meat, eggs, dairy, and introducing more fruits and vegetables, legumes, beans, and seeds in their diet. So that is a good sign.
Ah, wonderful. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear now.
Okay. Um, I was going to see if our executive director Tams could join us. I don't know if you've met Tams before. Probably she's there. She is. She's a beautiful spirit.
Hi there, how are you?
Hi, it's so lovely to meet you and to hear what you're sharing today. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. It is all my pleasure. I went on. I'm not used to just talking. I'm used to interviews, but because of the setback, I was trying to get my thoughts together. So this is the first time I've just talked and talked and talked, and my wife always says you keep talking too much. So
No, no, it has been very, very informative, and I jumped in mid interview, so I didn't get to hear everything you said. I'm looking forward to watching the recording. So, Marikita, are there other questions you wanted to ask?
please go ahead. Whatever you want to ask, you can ask me.
Well, I'd love to hear about the spiritual aspect of your change.
Okay, let me tell you this. I am not a very religious person, but I'm more spiritual. I do believe I'm as comfortable in a church or synagogue or a mosque, a temple, as I am anywhere else. So to me, there is no stopping me from going someplace that I feel like, and I would, or if somebody says, come over, I would be very happy to do that. One of the things I would like to tell you about my spiritual experience is when I climbed Mount Kailash exactly 1 year after my open heart surgery. Uh, I did not know that this was not an American company. It was a Nepali company where they're very frugal in giving you food, or even the coffee was just this much in the morning. And if you went for a second helping of food, they would say, no, we don't have it. So it was really grueling, not only in the climb in terms of the shortage of oxygen and all that, but also your intake of things. But it is an experience that I will never forget. It was 3 days of circumventing Mount Kailash at 19,000 feet. And as we reached at that 19,000, it's 29,000, but you can't go higher than that. It's 19,000 feet, like Mount Kilimanjaro, at the same height. Once we reached over there, for some reason, everybody was high fiving and hugging. I didn't want to do that. I just felt that I want to be alone. I went away, I sat on a stone and started contemplating. What would it be like if I didn't have all the material comforts that I have in the US? And a kind of soothing aspect was there, which I cannot express in words, was something that cannot be said in words but can only be felt. And so that experience for that period of 15 minutes or so that we were on top, then I joined the rest of the crowd and I forgot about it. And I came down. Guess what? My wife noticed a difference. I was, if you listen to my lecture, I was a type A personality. I wanted everything under control. I needed everything under control. It was my way or the highway. Now she says, you're mellowed down. So the spirituality aspect of it was that important. And I had a lot of fun also on my trips. I had some humorous stories that are written in my book, Open Heart. Uh, yeah, I just love to myself when I think about what I've done. Do you want to hear one of the stories?
Yes.
Okay. I was out on my, this was the first triathlon I was doing. So in a triathlon, there are three things that you have to be doing: swimming, biking, and running. So running, I was doing it, so I was not worried about it. Biking, I was okay, but swimming, I was very scared of the cold waters. I was doing in Lake Lanier in Atlanta. So without consulting anybody, I went online and bought myself a full body wetsuit. I got the wetsuit. I came home excited when the wetsuit came in, and I went way up on my top floor, and then I put the wetsuit and wasn't really getting. I really tried hard and put it on, and then I felt, wow, this looks good. Now came the time of taking it off. No matter how I tried, I had not used the body glide that you're supposed to use before putting on the wetsuit. And I desperately tried to get it down. I sat on the bed and huffing and puffing. I got it up to my waist, but no more. So I swallowed my pride and I called for my wife to help me. She takes one look at me and starts laughing. Then she says, sit on the floor. I sit on the floor. So she takes the leggings of both the wetsuit leggings and tries to pull the wetsuit off me. But it's not working. She's just taking me like rag doll all over. Then she goes in the kitchen and gets a scissor. I say, oh my God, a scissor now? What is she going to do? She's going to kill me maybe. And she cut up 5 inches of each wetsuit. She got a better grip. And then she pulled the wetsuit out of me. Not only the wetsuit, but a lot of hair was also in. Oh, but we laughed after that so much. It was a wonderful experience. So I've had so many of these humorous experiences with my fellow mates when we were climbing Mount Kilimanjaro or we were doing marathons. And one of the marathons in Chicago, I still think about it. There was a full term pregnant lady who was doing, and she had written on a t-shirt that I have my OBGYN's permission to do so. She not only beat her husband by 15 minutes, but delivered a baby boy 4 o'clock in the morning. Wonderful. So, uh, uh, your name is, ma'am, I can't hear you.
Okay. Can you
I
hear
can
me
hear
now?
you. I
Okay.
can hear you now. Tams, right?
Yes, Tams. So I'm curious, having missed the first half, you might have talked about this, but I know that you emphasize practice as an important part of health. For example, my practices include yoga and meditation and morning prayer. Do you find that a certain time of day is better to have a practice than others, or what suggestions or recommendations might you give? And forgive me if you've already shared this.
No, I have not shared this. It's a very important question. Thank you for asking this. Uh, it brings me back to night owls and morning larks. See, there are morning larks who love to get up in the morning, do everything in the morning. And uh, there are night owls like my wife who will sleep later on, get up at 9:30 or whatever, and then start her day and then goes late in the night while I end up at 9 p.m. So for different people, it is different timings. For me, the morning time is best. For most of us, the morning times, because the morning larks are about 40%. The night owls are about 30%, and the rest of them fall into both groups. Now, having said that, we believe as society that morning larks should be the way to go. Early to bed, early to rise makes you healthy, wealthy, and wise. That's a saying. So, but it is not true in the sense that we should be understanding, because it is genetics that gets you to be a morning lark or a night owl. And therefore, you have all this Apple and Google, they have their places open throughout the night so that people can go anytime and work over there. But you understand, night owls are burning the candles at both ends. They have to get up in the morning, but they're not ready, and keep up with the morning larks, because people believe that you should get up early in the morning. By the time 5 o'clock people leave, they are at the best. Now they don't know what to do. So the whole idea is, for me, when you ask me a question, it is morning time. The best thing you can do is, I don't have a home like that. But you have seen those old Hollywood movies. The person gets up, takes the curtains and draws the curtains, and the sun comes in. That's what you should be doing, because when you unwind, you want darkness in the night and you want to unwind and get ready to go to sleep. But in the morning, it should be full bright. So when you get that sun, try doing a sun salutation.
All right.
If you do a sun salutation or Surya Namaskar, it's called Surya Namaskar, in that sun, that will really get you replenished with everything that you. And so that is the way I try to start, not all the days, but I try to start my day. Then I go in for meditation, which to me, spirituality, prayers, whatever it is, breathing. Then I go for breathing exercises, pranayama.
Yes.
So the pranayama is extremely important. If people are ready in PBNSD, I don't know, I'm going to do at the end of next month, I think. I'm going to do a class on pranayama.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
That is so important. I've been practicing pranayama for about 17 years now, and
Wow.
it's been a life changer. And I do it throughout the day, and I would love to sit in on your class. That would be amazing.
That would be, no. I mean, you can take the class too, because you've been doing it for so long. You've been doing it longer than I have. But that is something, and Bhastrika is another thing that goes along with pranayama, but I'm not going to, of course, do that. What I start my day is with a huge glass of water with apple cider vinegar, lukewarm. After that, I have a juice that has 16 to 17 ingredients in it. So the important things are your ginger, your cinnamon, your flax seeds, your chia seeds, your amla, the Indian gooseberry, and then with your carrots and your celery and your uh, cucumbers, and then bananas and pears, whatever I have in the house, just put it in there before it gets rotten. So, and then I have that along with my wife, and I keep one glass for my daughter. And turmeric, very important in that too, with the ginger. So I put all these things and have that. Once I've had this and I've done all my meditating on whatever I have to do, then I go out for my exercise. I run, jog. I don't run, I jog. And lately, times I've taken up to swimming, because I'm thinking of doing another triathlon. I'm not sure I'll be able to do it. It's 77 years now, and I haven't done for the last so many years. But a challenge, adversity can either be your best friend, or adversity can be your worst enemy.
Yes, yes. Oh my goodness. You are just so full of wisdom. And until recently I lived in Georgia too, so I love Lake Lanier, and I'm so familiar with some of the areas you're talking about. Mariquita is still is having a lot of audio problems. So on that note, I think I want to say we just can't thank you enough for your time today and all you've shared. And now I really can't wait to watch the recording. Do you want to say how a person can reach you or your website?
Yeah, I have everything. My marketing director has sent it to Marikita.
Okay.
So if not, then I will ask my Violin Hawkins, who will be sending it out to you.
Okay.
But I would like people to really read my book. The reason being that all the profits of the book, so to speak, goes to charity. Uh,
Okay.
for PETA, which is my wife's charity, and mine is St. Jude's.
That's beautiful. And where can they purchase your book?
And Amazon.
Okay.
It's open heart.
Okay.
And I
Awesome.
would like people to write a review. It can be good, it can be bad, it can be ugly, but please write.
And
Okay.
if someone would like to write a review that we can share on All Creatures, please reach out to Marikita or myself. You can do that through our website, and we would be very, very glad to do that. Oh, Marikita's so kindly populated that with the URL. And I will not do as nice of a job as Marikita does with closing. But once again, thank you so much for your time and your expertise and your love and knowledge and compassion. And we just thank our audience so much. Oftentimes more people join in the recording than they do on the live stream. So know that if you're out there watching right now or tomorrow or next week, you're in our thoughts and our hearts. And we just lift up all of our audience. And Marikita does such an amazing job. Vegans Around the World is such an amazing program. And we are delighted to have her doing this every week. So thank you. And everyone have a wonderful afternoon, and peace be with us all.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.